call this meeting to order. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Mercedes Evans.
Here.
Thomas Fink.
Here.
Michelle Forbes.
Here.
Jennifer Hoover.
Here.
Tim Jackson. Luisa Lasova. Emily Smith. Alexander Jackson.
Thank you. A quorum being present, we'll proceed with our business this evening, beginning with our first period of public comment. Please refer to the guidance at the back of the agenda for public comment. State your name, address, and keep your comments limited to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Jessica Miller. I'm the director of Frederickson Library. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update. So far, through the end of September, we had just under 500,000 items that had been circulated from our library, and 26,000 people had attended programs. So we've been a little busy. We had a great summer. Our summer reading program was amazing. We have big programs roughly every Tuesday, and I'm sure you're aware that we had 3 concerts this summer. We've recently found out that we're going to get a grant for teen programming for $5,000, so we're very excited about that. It's for humanities programming, so a great opportunity for us to help work with the teens in the area as well as in our greater service area. We do have some fun upcoming programs as well. Tomorrow night we have a program about the Big Bang, and that's going to be at 6:30. And on Friday we have a program about the music of the Beatles. And that's also at 6:30 on Friday. And then our harp and handbell concert is going to be December 15th. So that's also upcoming. I'm sure some of you are aware that we do have an outstanding grant as well. So far we have the solar part of our project has been bid out, and we do have accepted a bid on that. And we're shortly going to be releasing bids on the other portions of our project. But thank you again, Sarah, for helping with that. The only thing left then is that we do have some trees that we're going to have taken care of. So the morning of December 4th, we're likely to be opening late to make sure that everyone stays safe and that the tree company has the room that they need. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That brings us then to President's announcements. First, to announce that Borough Council met in executive session immediately prior to this council meeting to discuss personnel matters. Second, yesterday was Veterans Day, so Borough Council would like to recognize all of our Camp Hill residents, both past and present, who have bravely served our country and whose courage, dedication, and sacrifice protect our freedoms. Thank you for your service. Additionally, this week, Monday, marked the 140th anniversary of the incorporation of the Borough of Camp Hill. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Hoover, President of the Historical Society of Camp Hill.
Well, thanks for inviting me to speak tonight. My name is Mark Hoover. I live, the Vice President of the Historical Society is also here. That's Diane, my wife. We live in what is called Mrs. Brown's Kindergarten Home on South 24th Street. If you read a little bit or you join the society, you will learn what that means. Just real quick, if you coming in the building, you could see the seal over this building. It shows the date 1885. It was November 10th. We were incorporated and that was when this town, this little, sorry, I choke up. This wonderful little town was born, okay? Now, since then, a lot of stuff has happened. That's been twice my lifetime. I'm 70, so 140 years, that's been a long time. And we've had a few things happen here. What we've got now, a great little town, one of the only walking schools in the state. It was voted one of the best places, in fact, the best place in the United States to retire by some organization. I'm not gonna argue with that. I'm glad to be here. We have had a Nobel Prize winner come through here through Camp Hill High School, Bill Phillips. George Washington was rumored to have watered his horses. I don't know if he ever slept here, but supposedly down at Willow Stream on his way west. President Eisenhower came through here many times on his way to Gettysburg when he was living down there. Many, many things have happened. That's just a few things. But last but not least, we are known for being where the Boscov's Mall is. It's a great accomplishment. Everybody, if you say, where's Camp Hill, they go, oh, where the Boscov's Mall is. Oh, yeah, we know where that is. All right. The Historical Society was founded in 2003 by the original members. Some of them are still active. We've gotten older. Diane and I represent, as well as some other people on the new board, represent some new blood coming into the group. We are hoping to have some newer members come in. If we don't, at some point, the society will not exist. And I think it's important because it helps preserve the memory of this town and the reason why we're here. And just thinking about the wonderful, some of the great things that have happened, maybe some haven't, but we've got great homes here. We've got a great town, so we're trying to remember it. We're non-political. We are going to be having a bus tour probably to Gettysburg this coming year. We're going to have an antique auto show. We're going to have a cemetery tour, which is going to be led by Sherry right here. So we have a few activities lined up. We meet 4 times a year. If anybody here would like to join, free membership the first year, one-time offer. Or just sign up. You'll get a newsletter. You'll get some information. And we are looking for people to help, particularly with media. If there's anybody here that knows how to do a Facebook page or make things like that, it's not my forte, believe me. But thank you for having me speak here. This is a wonderful town. We hope to preserve its memory and its character. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover. And not only is Camp Hill known for Boscov's, but who knows what movie was filmed there? Just 2 other minor fun facts. In our 140 years of incorporation, it appears that we've had a combination of 27 burgesses and mayors, the longest serving being Samuel D. Williams with 22 years, followed by Mr. Mayor Simpson, I believe, is second longest serving. And during our 140 years of incorporation, we've had 41 borough council presidents, the last 3 of which have been women. And to my knowledge, I think we've only had 1 female mayor. That would be Ruth Wire from back in 1982 to 1989. So there's that fun fact. And as Mr. Hoover was mentioning, and somebody learned tonight, there is a Camp Hill history book by Robert Christ, which is available in the reference section of the library. So feel free to check that out. There's also a very informative 1908 Cumberland Blue Book that was published. So just some fun things to read. And lastly, just to say, I hope this milestone inspires us to honor our past while renewing our commitment to service and community well-being for the next 140 years. So thank you very much. Moving on then to our manager's report, Mr. Simpson, Mayor Simpson. Oh, manager, Sarah.
I mean, he can give my
Ms.
report
Gibson.
if he wants to. I think it makes more sense coming from me.
Yes.
The borough has begun service with Appalachia Technologies as our IT provider. So there was a little happy dance in the borough office today. We are also streamlining our fire alarm and security system monitoring, and we'll now use only 1 vendor for that. We have been reducing the number of vendors serving the administration and police building in order to be more efficient and cost-effective. The Susquehanna Municipal Trust provides our workers' compensation insurance, and as I've said before, I participate on the board of the trust. I serve as Assistant Secretary Treasurer, which sounds not that exciting until you know that means I'll have to be president someday. The borough was recognized with a 2025 Safety Award for 0 lost time days. And we also received 3rd place and most improved risk management score as a result of the work we have done with our Worker Safety Committee. I attended the HATS Active Transportation Summit to learn about opportunities for grant funding and support for non-vehicular transportation. Louisa was there. Kevin was also there. We heard presentations from staff from PennDOT, DCNR, Cumberland County, as well as municipal representatives relating to walkability, bikeability, and connectivity. We are also promoting a survey on electric vehicle charging stations that has been distributed by HATS, and this was included in this week's e-digest, so take a look at their survey. I also recorded a podcast, which was quite an experience. It's with Nancy Hess. If you want to do a search on LinkedIn or YouTube for Nancy Hess, it's a series sponsored by the Association for Pennsylvania Municipal Managers, APMM, where I currently serve as second vice president, which also means that I am going to end up being president. Not at the same time. The podcast was titled Mapping Our Path to Sustainable Communities. I spoke about the borough's focus on sustainability initiatives and stormwater management and education. So feel free to listen. I made several glaring mistakes, but you just do the best you can. I need some practice. If anyone else wants me to be on their podcast so I can practice. Thank you. It's Nancy Hess, local government podcasts. It would, wherever podcasts are found. I think it's on YouTube. The link I put on my LinkedIn, so you can look for my LinkedIn. That's Nancy Hess, PCC Local Time.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Where your favorite podcasts are found.
Oh, look, that's you.
That's me. Wait till you hear me talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now it is time for our mayor's report.
All right, thank you. The Camp Hill Police report for October, they ran 725 calls for service, brings the year-to-date total up to 7,622. Camp Hill's 4 police cadets are wrapping up their training at the academy, and they will be graduating on December 10th at 6 p.m. The chief and I are going to be attending the graduation. That is the night of the council meeting, but we were going to go to graduation. On Monday, this past Monday, Chief Margison, Lieutenant Hare, and SRO Capers and I met to discuss the e-scooter issue. We're going to be prepared to present how the police department's going to handle this moving forward, and we're at the next public safety meeting, which is December 18th. I just want to reiterate to parents and guardians that e-scooters on public streets and sidewalks is illegal, and I'm asking every parent to not allow your children to ride them. Campbell Fire Department report, 23 calls in October. We spent 31 man-hours on those calls. Yesterday morning at 4 a.m., we were called out to a carbon monoxide alarm issue, so just a couple of heating tips. It is heating season. Make sure your carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors are in proper working order. I guess first, make sure you have them. Make sure the heating appliances are serviced and in proper working order, and have your chimneys inspected and cleaned. Santa is coming to Camp Hill starting on December 1st at 6 p.m. We'll be taking him around on Mondays and Wednesdays, weather permitting. And you can check the Camp Hill Fire Department Facebook page for the routes and any updates to schedule. And I hope that everybody has a great Thanksgiving. That's my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, our engineer's report.
Thank you. I have 3 items to report on this month, and each one of them has an action item associated with it. The first one is an application for a local share account grant. This is for design pedestrian improvements around what I think of as the Big Bend in Cumberland Boulevard. So the area of Cumberland Boulevard from about Lincoln to Logan Street, around past Brentwater Country Club to about Creston and 28th. That may sound familiar because we applied for that grant last year. We are not the definition of insanity here in doing the same thing, expecting different results. Last year's grant hasn't been announced, and this year's deadline has arrived. So we talked about some different potential strategies for how to deal with that. it wouldn't make a lot of sense to apply for construction dollars if we didn't know we got the design dollars, et cetera, et cetera. So all things considered, we thought it would be the best move to just apply for the same grant again this year. It's a minimal effort because all the materials are already assembled, and if we end up not getting last year's, maybe we will have a better chance this year. So for that item, we would like to request that council pass a resolution, which is a requirement of the grant program, to apply for the LSA grant in the amount of $370,000, which is really last year's number adjusted for inflation. If we, for some reason, find out that last year's grant was successful before this year's grant is due, which is the end of the month, then we would assume there's no point in filing for the same thing again. If we get the money from last year, we would not file for this year. So that's a condition of the motion that we're requesting. Next up are two related projects, the 2026 curb ramp projects and the 2026 paving projects. Both of these affect the part of town from about Frederickson Library east to the borough line. We have a contract out for the 2025 project to do curb ramps in that area for some of the intersections, but the funding that we got wasn't adequate to do all of them, so we had to kind of break it up into 2 years. You might also remember that this year's 2025 curb ramp contractor got a late start because the first low bidder couldn't come through, so we had to move on to the second one. So really, this year's bidder will be constructing those curb ramps next year, but we have more to do, and we have to assemble the designs, we have to get some HOP permits because some of them are at Market Street, and bid the project to do next year's ramps as well. If we can convince the grant agency and the solicitor's office to let us do next year's curb ramp project as a change order to this year's contract, we could potentially save a lot of time and money by not having to bid it again. And there is some reason to think that that might work because it's all the same requirements. It's the same funding source, same type of work, same part of town, et cetera, et cetera. We're not counting on that, though. That would be a nice stroke of luck, a nice benefit if we can do that. But the proposal that we've prepared assumes that we have to go through a full public bid process, which is kind of the standard. So to that end, we would ask the council approve an HRG proposal to do the design, bidding, and construction phase services for the 2026 curb ramp project in the amount of $46,150, and that's an attachment to my report. The need to do that project, or to get that project started now, is kind of driven by the fact that we need to do curb ramps and paving in that same part of town next year. That's the 2026 paving project. And we really need to do the curb ramps in the first part of the summer next year, and then the paving in the second part of the summer, so that all of the elevations line up, especially on those ADA accessible curb ramps. That's kind of a critical point. So the final action item we have would be to request approval of HRG's proposal to do design and bidding and construction phase services for the 2026 paving project. And that one's in the amount of $35,500. That's everything in my report.
Thank you, Mike. That brings us to our consent agenda. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Mercedes moves, Emily seconds. All in favor? Aye. The motion passes and the consent agenda is approved. Bringing us to reports of committees and liaisons, starting with Tim and Public Safety.
Yep. So Public Safety met on Thursday, October 23rd. And really there were two main issues that the residents had that wanted to express. One being the ongoing concern around Country Club Road and speeding. And so we took into account the many residents that did attend and share their thoughts at that time. Separately, as some of you are aware, there are stop signs that helps to address the line of sight around that area with that signage. And what I shared at the committee meeting is that should the speeding continue, in concert with CHPD and Public Works, we'll continue to work on making that area as safe as possible. It will continue to be also monitored through speeding measurement tools and other tactics, including enforcement in the area, supplemented by the officers that will soon be graduating here and placed into the force in 2026. So that is something that is a standing agenda for the committee and a priority for us to continue to monitor. The second piece was also around micromobility, e-scooters, e-bikes. That was also a main topic for not only the committee in the October meeting, but also in prior meetings, and then gave rise to a special meeting that was held here a little over a week ago, where we discussed and Mayor went into a little bit about the planning piece of what the police department plans to do in terms of enforcement. And really the outcome of that committee meeting was to decide as a committee, based on resident feedback, that enforcement will begin. Having said that, I read that other municipalities have also begun to enforce, the last of which is Derry Township, which they have announced, I think as of yesterday, that they would start to enforce as well. Other municipalities have followed suit. Did not know that, did not take that into consideration, simply responded to resident concerns on what's best for our individual community, and now we understand that others are doing the same as well. And then lastly, in terms of new business, there was training for an officer who is just about finished with SRO training. Completed SRO training. So now we have a backup resource officer in the department. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Any questions? Okay, moving on then to Louisa with Public Works.
Okay, Public Works met November 4th. We have 2 action items that Mike already explained. It was a fairly brief meeting. On the main important outcome that I have to report to you is that there will be no fee change for compost cards next year. We're still collecting data, so that will be a discussion for next year's budget and fee schedule, where we might pursue a fee change for 2027, but fees will stay the same for 2026. Other than that, we talked at length about the Harvard Run, Bramer Road, flooding mitigation. HRG is working on a report that they expect to finish by February, I think. And I'm happy to see that there is one easement under planning and zoning for our consideration. So that is excellent news. So I'm hoping that the other 2 easements for that area will come in soon. And that's really all for Public Works. And I apologize that the minutes are still not ready, but they will be very soon.
Thank you, Louisa. Any questions? I just had one question. Leaf collection is underway. Please sweep your leaves to the curb. But I know some residents have concerns about that, and to that point, Mike, could you talk to us about the benefits of leaf collection and why we as a borough perform that service?
Sure. Leaf collection became a lot more popular in Pennsylvania municipalities 10 or 15 years ago, when there was a regulation passed at I think the state and the federal government, that banned burning of leaves, which is the way that in the past folks had typically disposed of them, which raised an air quality concern. So with the higher levels of government making that option illegal, what else are we going to do with them? And I think a lot of municipalities at that point purchased vacuum trucks and grinders, and now can compost them and use them again in another way. Besides the air quality aspect, leaves can clog the storm sewer system, and then we can have flooding in rain events if we get sudden downpours, when there are a lot of leaves. And also large drifts of leaves can, if they get on the roadway, can compromise the traction that vehicles get. So, when folks bring them to the curb, we ask that you take them just to the curb so that we can pick them up. And if we don't pick them up, if we just allow them to lay, then they can drift anywhere on the road throughout the winter months and cause difficulty for vehicles.
Thank you.
What was the concern from residents?
Leaf collection provokes allergies. Yeah. As somebody with a personal history of asthma and allergies of our own, I can relate to that. No, leaf collection. Yes. So, but
I would note for people who are putting their leaves out that for the benefit of the Public Works Department and for everyone on your street, you should not block your piles of leaves with vehicles. The Public Works crew will not work around a vehicle with the equipment. They could possibly hit the vehicle, and that's worse than not picking up their leaves. Also, you should put only leaves, no twigs, sticks, toys, Christmas trees, anything except leaves. The leaves are the only thing that go into the vacuum truck. If they get to your pile of leaves and there is other stuff in it, they will keep moving. So don't call us and say they didn't get my leaves. There's a reason for it. There's my mean version.
and we do earn credit towards our MS4 requirements.
We do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And leaf collection usually occurs the day after garbage pickup day. However, I do see them doing extra rounds right now. Right, okay.
So I had a quick question. The leaf remover machinery, does it like kick off? I mean, and create allergy problems? Is that what happens?
I can't speak to that technically or scientifically.
Creates a dust cloud wherever it goes.
Perhaps.
Still not your scientific.
Yeah,
Or mowing your lawn with any kind of mower would do the same kind of thing, just on a
But-
smaller scale.
Just from the ecological standpoint, if your leaves are not blowing on the road and clogging the storm drains, there is no ecological necessity to
Right.
remove them.
Right, yeah.
There's
That's
no
a
requirement for
personal
you to mow
preference.
from your lawn. Right, you are correct. However, if they are out and about on the street, it would be helpful to clean them from your sidewalks and the street and be a good neighbor and make sure that your inlet is free of debris as well. Okay. Moving on then to community and business relations. Thank you.
Okay. Community and Business Relations met at Market on Tuesday, October 21st. And our goal was to have informal conversations with residents, and we spoke with non-residents, we don't discriminate, about any borough-related topic. Former residents we spoke to, too. We actually spoke to quite a few people once we accosted them and told them who we were and why we were there. I think it was kind of surprising for them. But our table at the event included the members of the committee, like Louisa, Emily, and I. And then later on, Mercedes came and helped out because instead of just meeting from 4 to 5, we set up at 3. And what did we leave, 6-ish? Yeah. So it was quite a long time that we were there. And I hope that it's something that we can continue because it was just a really good opportunity. And our next meeting is just going to be a regular meeting down on Tuesday at 4 o'clock on the 18th. That's my report.
Thank you. I think you're taking the committee to the people.
Yes,
Is a very creative idea.
for you.
So, thank you. Moving on to Parks and Recreation. Emily.
Thanks. I mean, it is community business relations, and that's,
Right, and they were the businesses.
they were there. Yeah. Okay, recreation report. I hope everyone had fun at the Halloween parade. It seemed to be very successful. Thank you to the event sponsors, AMC Theaters, Babs Motor Speedway, LB Smith Ford Lincoln, Mid-Penn Bank, PA Ballet Academy, VFW Post 7530, Weiss, Cornerstone, CMA West, Harrisburg Senators, Pennsylvania Bakery, Giant Foods, KW Central PA Realty, Ula Bowls, Turning Point, Valley Pediatric Dentistry, and Trinity Lutheran Church. In other news, the holiday tree lighting is coming up. It's December 4th at 6 p.m. Camp Hill Borough is teaming up with Mid-Penn Bank.
You come to the meeting and then go to the tree lighting at the same
There's a couple things, though.
Okay, sorry.
So Mid-Penn Bank, Camp Hill Borough, and Frederickson Library are teaming up for an evening of fun. Join us for a cozy afternoon at Frederickson Library before the tree lighting. Enjoy several holiday specials, including Rudolph, Frosty, and Peanuts Christmas, along with cookies and hot chocolate. The whole family is welcome to join us for festive fun anytime from 3:30 to 5:15. Then at 6 p.m., all are welcome to join at the tree lighting at the Borough Building, and then go down to Mid-Penn Bank for hot chocolate, cookies, and visit with Santa. We'll also be collecting toys for Toys for Tots as well for that event. I might as well keep rolling on my holiday stuff. Parade of Lights for Toys for Tots is then the following 2 days, December 5th and 6th, from 6 to 8 p.m. The Parade of Lights for Toys for Tots will be in Willow Park again this year from 6 to 8 p.m., sponsored in part by First Commonwealth Bank. Just like last year, walk along the trail in Willow Park and see the lights. On December 5th, there will be a trolley available again this year if you want to ride instead of walk. And there's parking here at the Borough. And again, please bring a new unwrapped toy donation for Toys for Tots. So don't miss that. All of the holiday festivities are surprisingly soon. Also, thank you to the Harry and Nancy Price Siebert Park Fund. If you've been to Siebert Park recently, maybe to play bocce ball or watch tennis, the borough was able to purchase a bench near the tennis courts and bocce ball courts thanks to the donation from the Harry and Nancy Price Siebert Park Fund. It's really nice. It doesn't have a back, so you can sit either way. I mean, I guess in the summertime you could even just watch the pool from afar. It's very useful. So you could. I think you could. Yeah. Lastly, there are openings on the Recreation Commission. This volunteer position is a great way to give back to your community. We meet 4 times a year for about an hour and provide recommendations to Borough Council about programs and projects our residents want. There are 3 openings this year for the Recreation Commission for the term of 2026 to 2028. Cover letter and resume are due to the Recreation Office by December 1st. I can say from attending the Recreation Commission meetings for a while now, the summer one is in the park, which is awesome. And you get to volunteer at all of the events, which makes it really fun. You get first dibs at volunteer opportunities in recreation. So that is my report. Oh, and lastly, sorry, I have so much on here. The Holiday Home Decorating Contest. Camp Hill Recreation, in partnership with Blooms by Vickery, will be having the annual Holiday Decorating Contest. So you need to decorate your house, and then there are some council members that will be driving around to look at said houses and pick their favorites. That will be the week of December 8th, so get your decorations up before that week if you want us to look at them. And then winners will be notified that week by a knock at their door. Be sure to check out the winners posted on our website and drive by their homes and check out their decorations. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Any questions?
Not a question, but a note of appreciation. The bocce team really appreciates the bench.
I love that. I think it's great that it's there. I mean, I might have also wanted it in that spot because I watch tennis in the area pretty frequently.
So it's double.
I just love that it has a dual purpose.
Yeah, that's
Unlike
great.
other benches, that one is super useful.
That's really cool.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to Tom for planning and zoning, I will introduce Chris Beauregard, who is here to provide us with a briefing on the ADM Mill Silo Project revised plan.
Good evening. My name is Chris Beauregard. I'm a civil engineer working with ADM on their new silo project. This is the first time I'm presenting to the Borough Council. The project's has been active for about a year and a half now. We first went through a zoning variance for height of the new silos. We submitted land development plans summer of 2024, and we got as far as the Planning Commission, and then ADM decided to make some changes to how they operated at the facility. The plan went on the shelf, and then the summer it came back with a redesign. Instead of large concrete slip form silos, the project was redesigned with 6 smaller steel silos. So that's really the largest change since the plan was first submitted back in 2024. The project is located, and I think most of you are familiar with it, on the south side of Route 581. The silos in question used to be 3 large steel silos. They reached the limit of their life cycle and have been demolished. So right now all there is a concrete pad where those silos stood. We've been waiting to get the approvals and have the redesign completed. Hopefully we can get that started in January. If you can see on your screen there, what you're looking at is the 6 steel silos in packages of 3, so 3 package silos set up on the south side of the facility. You can see that they're basically surrounded by concrete silos. We are proposing a large stormwater management facility associated with those silos. We have a stormwater line that runs underneath the railroad tracks along the west side of the silos. I have been able to convince the design engineers to scooch those silos so that they are not located on top of that stormwater pipe. Those structures are going to be situated on deep foundations, mini piles, which extend down to bedrock, which ranges anywhere between 10 and 25 feet below grade in this area. So there will be no load on that pipe, and it'll be readily accessible. Now, we have discussed with your borough engineer a number of waivers that we're requesting. We just got the comment letter back. It seems like we've got almost all of the comments addressed, with the exception of a couple of, we are going to be removing a couple of the waivers that they feel aren't appropriate anymore. And I think most of the other comments are going to be administrative. So after the Borough Council meeting next month, we'll go about, if we get approval, we'll go about getting those signatures and getting those plans recorded. And I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have regarding the project or the engineering associated with it. I have to admit, I have limited history associated with the project as far as how long it's been in operation. I know that I have reviewed plans as far back as the 1950s. I know that history is a big aspect of the community. But ADM is really looking to upgrade the facility and make it sustainable for the next 50 years, at least.
Thank you. Questions?
I have a question. I'm just curious, why steel versus concrete? Is there
It's a cost
longevity,
thing.
cost?
If we aren't going to be going as high, originally the silos, we had a zoning variance to allow the silos to go up to almost 200 feet. The silos didn't go, but the equipment that sits on them. Actually, could you pull up the rendering? It'll give you a better idea of what this is what the silo design currently looks like with the steel bins. Obviously, silos aren't just the silo. They're the mechanisms below them with the elevators and then the the conveyor belts on top. So these are much larger concrete structures. You couldn't do those structures with steel. With the modifications to the operations at the facility, they felt that they could go with a lighter weight steel silos, much shorter. You can see in this picture here that the top of those silos are significantly lower than the adjacent silos.
Any other questions?
I remember when it was first discussed, one of the questions was about the noise.
Correct.
And does that make a difference in switching to the 6 as opposed to the?
Well, we believe that the noise pollution will be significantly reduced because the actual noisy equipment, the conveyor belts and the feeders are situated so high, they propagate out in various directions. With those mechanical units much lower, they aren't going to get the same propagation of sound. Now, we did do a sound study in 2024 during the peak wheat receiving season. So we do have those records. So we have a baseline, and we certainly are prepared to do another sound study during a similar period of time during the wheat receiving time frame, which is I think July sometime, which is when most of the winter wheat is coming in. But there are a couple of periods. If there is an issue, we have a baseline that we can look at that. And if there is an issue, we can put additional sound modulation equipment attached to those facilities. But we do have a baseline in case there are any issues. But we feel that with the reduced size, the noise pollution is going to be significantly reduced.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So from a procedural perspective, you don't see land development plans here very often, but this is a commercial development, so it's a land development. It stays at the Planning Commission until they're ready to make a recommendation to council for conditional approval. At the last meeting, it was tabled because they wanted them to scooch the silos, so your word, not mine, which they managed to do. The silos were basically on top of that stormwater pipe, which no one thought was a good idea. So the Planning Commission did a really good job of evaluating the plan in conjunction with Mike and Colton, who were all involved in the review of the plan. So Mr. Beauregard is here to kind of prep you all so that when you see it in December with hopefully the Planning Commission's recommendation for conditional approval, you'll feel comfortable with giving it conditional approval as well.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Mr. Beauregard.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Now I turn it over to Tom.
Okay, planning and zoning. You'll note in your packet that Colton provided the October monthly report on code enforcement. He responded to 157 calls and complaints, made 416 calls, sent 230 emails, and issued 9 building permits, 9 zoning permits, 5 dumpster permits, 5 shade tree permits, and 1 stormwater permit. The committee at large met October 17th, and we went over a bunch of topics. First of all, we looked at a request made by Chief, a very reasonable one, about maybe it's time to limit soliciting, door-to-door soliciting in Camp Hill in view of the internet and so on, and people are not going door-to-door and so on. But in bumping that to legal, we ran into the First Amendment issue again. So Lee is drafting or has drafted a model ordinance that he's going to have Chief look at with awareness that the last update of the solicitation ordinance was 29 years ago. So I don't know if that ordinance has gotten to the Chief yet. It has, okay. And then at our next meeting, we'll look at comments and see how we want to move forward. We also looked at a proposed traffic calming ordinance or procedure. Not sure which one we need to hang our hat on. Ms. Gibson and Lee Stinnett shared feedback from PennDOT and our Public Works Director, and based on this, Lee prepared a draft process of how residents can ask for calming procedures. This process is being forwarded, or has been forwarded to Lester for review and input, and hopefully a flow chart of that process will be made available to us at our next meeting, at which time we'll look at it. Number 3, we decided as a group not to work on any alteration in the rules pertaining to RVs, boats, or trailers being parked on private properties. The rules are a bit restrictive, but there is a lot of support among residents for leaving these rules in place. So at this point, we've done nothing about that. The committee, in conjunction with the Downtown Camp Hill Association, is looking at, this is the next topic, at current parking requirements in our borough code, which are unbelievably extensive and detailed, and they name what type of business, tattoo artist, you know, it's blah, blah, blah. And the question is, do we need that much detail? Or there's a movement nationwide to eliminate parking requirements. So we're taking a hard look at this. What kind of rules should we have? Loosening up the rules arguably would make the business district a little more amenable to businesses, which we want to attract. And then yesterday, we heard from Tony Conti. We met with him and Brian Hinkle and Associates on Monday, but we just heard from him yesterday that the Parking Reform Network is willing to work with us on these ideas. So this is an unfolding process. It's complex, maybe a little controversial, but potentially beneficial for us to examine and alter. But nothing will be proposed without sufficient input from our borough staff, particularly code enforcement, public safety, and our residents. But we're taking a look at this complex matter, and we'll see what the future, how it unfolds. We also looked at the e-bike situation, a hot topic that was discussed at the public safety meeting that Tim put together. It was quite a largely attended and animated meeting full of many variety of ideas and et cetera. The issues are complex and are actually being looked at the state level, where there's a proposal perhaps to set the age of being allowed to ride an e-scooter at 16 as long as you're wearing a helmet. Now, the reason that e-bikes are forbidden is that they're classified as motor vehicles, therefore they're under motor vehicle restrictions, and they don't have lights, they don't have, but... Oh, e-scooters, I'm sorry, e-scooters, yeah, I'm sorry, e-scooters. Yeah, we're not talking about e-bikes. So e-scooters get sucked into the they're not allowed category because of how they're classified. And there, again, to repeat myself, there is a look at the state level at this. The committee is a little divided on this matter. Someone thinks that 14 should be the age. Not a bad idea. Yeah, I wonder who it is. And the argument being that allowing e-scooters eliminates the drive for driving kids to school. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's an openness to look at this. But right now, they're forbidden. With regard to the upcoming and challenging 2026 comprehensive plan update, Sarah noted that a grant application has been submitted to help with this process. Number 7, one of our committee members suggested that golf carts and other low-speed vehicles might be a safer alternative to e-scooters. I wonder who that was. And that Camp Hill might consider becoming a golf cart community. I'm not sure where that will go, but it's an interesting idea. We then had a bunch of public comments at the end of our meeting, as well as one at the beginning. One that involved a detailed request to extend a need to remove a level 2 charging station that was put in on a verge without notifying anybody. They just put it in. And they are now being required to remove that, and they would like to extend that request or requirement. We had another person support as comments allowing these units to be put into the verge. We also had a strong comment about restricting e-scooters, so we're all over the place. And finally, there was a request to review our current codes regarding non-residents being allowed to sleep overnight in cars.
I don't think it was about residents or non-residents. It was just
Somebody,
sleeping in a car.
right, they didn't know, okay, thank you.
Yes.
They didn't know if it was, I assumed it was a non-resident. And I'm not sure where that went, but that's out there.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
One question, I could have asked this under public safety, but I forgot. Regarding the potential enforcement of e-scooters, are you intending to pull them over for the act of riding the scooter or for riding the scooter without registration, inspection, safety, et cetera?
Good question.
Excuse me, I don't have a very good voice tonight. We're looking, first of all, and as the mayor said, we had a meeting and we have discussed this. We're putting some plans together. Before we start the enforcement phase of it, we're going to be probably giving out warnings directly to the operators. If we get to actual enforcement where citations would go out, it would be for operating them on a street or a sidewalk, period. And it could one yet to be determined issue, and we'll be talking with Tim more about this, will be the juvenile offender or the parent or guardian who gets cited.
My next question was how do you ensure that the offender, and in the case that the offender is a minor, okay, how do you ensure that that minor's parent receives that citation?
I think the ingenuity of our school resource officer will be able to determine that almost immediately.
Okay. And to be clearly transparent, I also communicated with the school district. I have also a different opinion. I think the superintendent disagrees with me, but I would think that the school district could ban them from their property.
We have also previously made that suggestion.
Okay,
to
thank
the
you.
same person you're communicating with.
Okay.
With the same result.
Yes. I received a very polite, respectful response back, but definitely a difference of opinion. But anyway, thank you. Anything more, Tom, to say about the easement agreement?
I
Okay.
have one action item to consider the easement agreement with Carrie Sullivan for purpose of maintaining stormwater infrastructure at 3116 Braemar Road, which Louisa referred to. So we got one of three. So we want to vote on that tonight. The next meeting of Planning and Zoning is scheduled for Friday, November 21st at 8:15. It's 8:15 so people can get their coffee and be set up for the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Administration and Finance, Mercedes.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'll start with our next meeting, which is being moved to next Monday, the 17th, due to the Thanksgiving holiday. So I want to get that out of the way. Have a few action items. All right, first one is consider adoption of updated employee handbook. There were some small changes. One of them was that there's going to be a floating holiday now available to employees. Is there anything like major that you want to address?
Some of the changes were related to accommodating people who might have special needs or special cultural things that they're wearing that would interfere or possibly interfere with their job, and whether we could accommodate that. Some other changes relative to recent court cases that we wanted to clarify so that we don't get wrapped up into a court problem like some other places have.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, the second item is to consider advertisement of the 2026 budget. Thank you so much to everybody and department heads and Natalie, who worked so hard on that. The other thing is consider one-year contract extension with Penn Waste. The committee recommended that since Penn Waste complied with the requirements of the contract and they were the sole bidder. Then we have consider resolution to apply for a local share assessment grant. And lastly, consider ordinance to amend the non-uniform pension plan to waive employee contributions. Any questions?
Just either Mercedes or Sarah, remind us, not along with, or along with the contract extension, fees are also going up? Do you remember what that amount is?
It would be 6% increase of each year of the contract. So we have the option after the first 3-year contract of extending it for 1 year and then a second year. So this would be the first of the 2 years, but it's intended to have a 6-year or 6% increase each year.
And low volume?
That would also have a 6%.
Also a 6% increase, but is also still available.
And this would all take place effective April 1st. But we have to give them notice this far in advance that we'd like to renew the contract or extend it.
Okay.
And we have no other alternatives, right?
That's correct. At the time that we did the bidding, they were the
I
only
mean,
ones.
unless you know a guy that collects trash.
Or a woman.
I talked to a woman in Michigan who works for a waste removal person and asked them if they did business in Pennsylvania, but they don't.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mercedes. Next, with our liaison report, starting with Tim with the Borough and School District.
Thank you. No meeting was held this past month. The next meeting is January 28th at 6 p.m. in the District Administration Building. That's my report.
Thank you. Next, the Stormwater Authority, Louisa.
Okay, the Stormwater Authority met on November 10th. In the budget that we are advertising today, there is a 30% increase in stormwater fee. The Stormwater Authority is aware that that increase only covers inflation, so we will likely see more increases in upcoming years. The authority also asked Sarah to prepare a PowerPoint presentation for the public explaining what the Stormwater Authority does and why the increase is necessary and how it will really not amount to a very big dollar amount. And we reviewed the PowerPoint presentation. It's very nice. Sarah did an excellent job, and it will be posted on the Stormwater Authority website. Will it be available anywhere else?
Well, it's very nice, except they changed every single slide. But other than that, once the Stormwater Authority meets and does final approval of their fee schedule and the final budget, they will review the PowerPoint one more time, and it will be posted on the Stormwater Authority page of our website.
And are they going to consolidate both websites?
Yeah, we'll work on that.
And that's all about Stormwater Authority.
Thank you, Louisa. I also attended the Stormwater Authority meeting and also appreciate the authority's intent to educate the public again about the stormwater fee that was enacted 5 years ago in 2020. I did provide some suggestions. I think for the sake of clarity and conciseness, that perhaps the presentation could be shorter, as well as perhaps conveying the key takeaway up front rather than at the back end of the presentation. I think that's important because, as Elisa said, it's a small increase in terms of dollars in your overall stormwater bill. And to communicate, I think the key takeaway isn't so much that the rate is increasing, but I think the message is that we have a stormwater authority who's trying to be strategic and forward-thinking. And a healthy stormwater authority needs the necessary funds to carry out the stormwater improvements to our infrastructure. So I hope that message is not lost and is communicated. And to that point, I would urge us next month to consider approving a letter that communicates that an increase is coming, in addition to the trash rate increasing as well. I've shared a draft letter with Sarah and Louisa and Melissa of the Stormwater Authority for her review, but I would urge council to consider that either through Public Works or Admin and Finance, so that we could consider it as a bulk mailing letter in the new year. And if you recall, that's how we communicated about our sewer rate increase a few years ago.
So will that letter be with the next sewer bill or separate?
It would be a separate bill.
Separate letter. I mean, we haven't really
Yeah.
discussed it yet, so.
I would only recommend a second letter because if it's not going out, if it's not a separate letter, it wouldn't go out to the public until when?
I mean, we haven't talked about it at all.
But I mean, when do
The new
when
rate-
do the utility
The
letters
utility
go out?
bills for the new year will go out mid-January. So we would have to have it, at that point would be the first time they would get a bill with the increase to the stormwater fee.
Communicated in the letter.
When we could put a letter in with that, or we could have a separate direct mail,
Okay.
which is postage is like
Yeah.
$1.50 a piece right now. It's not that bad.
The authority doesn't necessarily have to discuss. Borough Council could mail it, correct.
But we would want the authorities' agreement.
They could weigh in on it. It would still be the prerogative of Borough Council to communicate about the increase in both aspects.
So then should we ask Admin and Finance to finalize the letter?
Sure, we can do it on Monday.
Okay. What's that?
Say it's $1.50.
No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, I shouldn't kid.
I'm like,
Post- Postage is really expensive right now.
I know.
I was not being serious.
So we'll discuss the contents of the letter as well as whether it's a bulk mail or with the
I
utility
mean,
bill.
is it 74 cents a letter now? So,
That's close.
EDDM.
Okay, but
I
there's time
can
for Admin and Finance.
yes, that would be
I
great.
think I mentioned that.
We haven't talked about this.
But thank you. Thank you for
EDDM.
your attention to that. Next up, our junior council member report. Alex.
Thank you. In fall sports, all fall sports wrapped up this last weekend. The boys soccer team won districts. The girls field hockey team made it to the state quarterfinals. Both girls soccer and football did not make it to playoffs. The marching band got third place at nationals, and winter sports have started preseason and optional practices, and media day was held today. In mid-October, the PSAT was taken by all juniors, and scores were released last week. Senior Dress-Up Day was held October 31st. It was successful with lots of enthusiastic participation. Report cards were sent out on November 7th for, I think, all of the schools. Senior quotes, superlatives, and remember whens are due this Friday in preparation for the 2025-2026 yearbook. There's a fundraiser happening right now at Chipotle that benefits the class of 2029, which is our freshman class. The middle school is participating in a Grief Awareness Day Penny Award to benefit the Highmark Caring Place, which is a grief center it's free of cost for any child or family who's dealing with grief. That's located around the corner down by the end of the Conant Gwinnett. The middle school mini-thon will be held this Saturday, and Eisenhower Mini-Thon was held last Friday and raised over $14,000 for children struggling with childhood cancer. And there's a German field trip on December 12th to the Mifflinburg Christmas Market that's open to all high school students. That's all.
Thank you. Next, the Sustainability Committee.
Okay, the Sustainability Committee met October 9th without me, but I have good minutes. The committee had a continuing discussion about goals and accomplishments and updated its worksheet, which I've talked about. Now, if there's anything that needs to be corrected or added to, Sarah, since you were there, please jump in. Number two, it looks like we've gotten energy usage data now from both UGI and PPL for 2024? How far back does it go? Right. And the committee would like you now to go back and ask for more?
I mean, there's discussion as to whether we should do that annually. We had
yeah.
originally agreed that the energy usage would be assessed every 5 years, but there's certainly some value to continuing to request the data every year. But this was, believe it or not, the 5-year mark since the data that we collected to do the climate action plan in the first place.
I see, yeah.
And it did go down.
Yeah,
So-
I know, that's encouraging. Number three, the committee reviewed a PowerPoint presentation about the Community Choice Aggravation Program and looked at next steps. I always do that. What do I say? Aggregation?
You say aggravation.
Oh. I don't know if that's Freudian or not. Aggregation. I'll circle the G. Joining this program has the possibility of allowing an opt-in procedure for residents that has the opportunity for reducing energy costs. I think that's something that needs to be underlined. The Sustainability Committee is certainly trying to do things that are environmentally friendly, but leading with actions that will save residents money, because alternative fuels oftentimes are cheaper than fossil fuels. And there's a lot of resistance to that transition, but that's what the committee is trying to lead on. And none of this would be mandatory. It's an opt-in kind of procedure. Ms. Gibson confirmed that funding for solar panels and replacement windows for Borough Hall has been put into the 2026 budget. Is there any grant money for that, or are we just going to pay for it on our own? Is that?
We have a grant that covers the interest on the loan.
Okay.
So they give us a loan, and then they give us a grant that we pay for the interest.
And then,
So we can purchase the facilities up front.
and I just had solar panels put on my house, and I'm saving money, so that's what will happen.
That's the objective, yes.
Yeah, that's the objective. Sarah also provided an update on the Sustainable PA project so that sustainability goals will be included in the borough manager's job description. Sarah also opened discussion regarding level 2 charging stations that could be made available to the public so people don't stick them in the verge, you know. So that discussion is ongoing. She also commented that the police department was looking at purchasing an EV pickup truck. This action may have been stalled a little bit at present following recent budget discussions. Although that Silverado EV is being taken off the market, and maybe it'll be cheaper. We don't know. Finally, there were further discussions about energy audits that could be available to the public, and they talked about ways to incentivize companies so they could offer these audits for free, again, with an emphasis on finding ways to help our citizens reduce energy costs. That's my report based on the minutes. The next meeting of Sustainability Committee is tomorrow, November 13th at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Moving on to Emily with the Downtown Camp Hill Association.
Thank you. I have more holiday information for you because there's lots of things going on in the borough. Holiday magic is coming to downtown Camp Hill. We just had the Harvest Hop, which was very well attended. I hope all of you got to go out and go to that. Up next, the Downtown Camp Hill Association is hosting the Candy Cane Walk. That is on Sunday, November 23rd, from 12 to 4 p.m. Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there. No Last Call Marching Band will make an appearance. And we have the little cotton cart and glitter tattoos ready for the kids. It's a cozy Camp Hill tradition that kicks off the holidays here in the borough, and it's a fantastic opportunity to welcome holiday shoppers into your business. So the plan is that from the Candy Cane Walk to Small Business Saturday is like a whole week of go shop downtown, shop local, all of those things. So please go out and check out the businesses and everything all the time, but definitely during that time. The farmers market is still happening on Tuesdays from 3 to 7 p.m. The last day for the market is Tuesday, November 25th. So you got 2 weeks left. Get your produce. Get your honey. You can order turkeys.
I bought my turkey from there.
You can order pies for Thanksgiving. All of those things. They're all at the market. It's you can get all of your Thanksgiving shopping done right at the market. And then I also have on here, save the date for the 4th annual Miracle on 24th Street. Yay! We're all very excited about that. Yeah. So Miracle on 24th Street is Saturday, December 6th from 12 to 4 p.m. So if you put this in your mind, we have holiday events starting on November 23rd with the Candy Cane Walk. And then nearly immediately, Audrey's going to start decorating Willow Park for the Parade of Lights. We'll have the tree lighting and, you know, all of the Christmas movies at Frederickson Library. Go to the Mid-Penn Bank, see Santa for the second time. And then Friday and Saturday, December 5th and 6th, is the Parade of Lights at night. And then Miracle on 24th Street is during the day that Saturday from 12 to 4. And I can say all of the planning is going well. There's a bunch of vendors. We have more food trucks this year than I think we've ever had. So it's very exciting. It's going to be a great time. There's like a bunch of kid vendors, adult vendors. There's all sorts of stuff. I think there's going to be fire pits. So definitely.
As long as there's no burn ban.
Yeah, as long as there's no burn ban. So definitely save the date for all of those things coming up. That lots of borough and downtown Camp Hill staff have been working diligently to make the holiday extravaganza happen in Camp Hill. That concludes my report.
Can you mention that volunteers are needed for?
Yes, volunteers are needed for everything to make this happen.
And they should contact?
They should contact Audrey for various events. They should contact Beth for most of the other events. So Beth is the Downtown Camp Hill coordinator, and then she's also the community outreach borough person. So she's helping with lots of these things, and her and Audrey coordinate on a lot of this stuff. So there is many opportunities for volunteering. Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will pass over the Frederickson Library Board Liaison Report since that was given during public comment. Thank you very much. But I will turn it over to Michelle for reports regarding CapCog and Birdtown.
This will be the shortest report I've ever given, just heads up. Don't act so happy. Okay, CapCog has not met. We meet on Monday at 7. And Birdtown had our meeting yesterday, but we're not going to have a December meeting because along with other people, we want to have a display ready for Parade of Lights to let people know all the fun things we're doing. And we'd like to thank everybody who supported us this year because we've had a really great time. And just quickly, for our bird of the month, it's the European starling. So interestingly, these were brought over, and the only place that they did really well was, I think, Pennsylvania, New York City, they let them in Central Park. So since then, they've taken over like the whole country. And I had heard, and I don't know if it's true, but I heard an anecdote that they wanted to have all the birds that Shakespeare had poking them out. So like, oh, we'll just have all these birds here. And they took over. So it's a good example of good intentions and gone horribly wrong. So that's our bird of the month, yeah. But they're really cool, but yeah, just don't bring birds from foreign lands.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. That brings us to our second period of public comment. If you have a comment to share with us, please come to the podium.
I know times have changed, but at one time when I first moved here, I was just hearing about the stormwater bills and all that. When I first moved here, my water bill was $15 a month and there was no sewer fee because during the Depression, the sewage system was built at our expense and there was no amortization, nothing to be done. Just an idea of where things used to be. But to give you an idea of the future, I'm not just living in the past. Our house was one of the first to have any of the Solar City, which is now Tesla, installations in this town, 51 panels on my roof and on my garage. So I'm not living in the past. This town has a past and it also has a future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, that brings us to our action items for the evening, starting with 12A. Is there a motion and a second to approve a retainer agreement with HRG to provide engineering services on an hourly basis for the 2026 curb ramp project in the amount of $46,150? Louisa moves. Michelle seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. 12B, is there a motion and a second to approve a retainer agreement with HRG to provide engineering services on an hourly basis for the 2026 paving project in the approximate amount of $35,500? Louisa moves, Mercedes seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Next, is there a motion and a second to approve an easement agreement with Carrie Sullivan for the purpose of maintaining a stormwater infrastructure at 3116 Braemar Road?
Second.
Tom moves, Emily seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Is there a motion and a second to approve the updated employee handbook? Mercedes moves, Michelle seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Is there a motion and a second to advertise the 2026 budget?
Second.
Mercedes moves, Emily seconds. Is there any discussion? Just as a reminder, this has been discussed at various budget meetings as well as at council meetings. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Next, is there a motion and a second to approve a one-year contract extension with Penn Waste effective April 1st, 2026? Mercedes moves, Louisa seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Next, is there a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-14 to apply for a local share account program or grant? Mercedes moves, Louisa seconds. Is Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And lastly, is there a motion and a second to approve the advertisement of an ordinance to amend the non-uniform pension plan to waive employee contributions?
So moved. Second.
Mercedes moves, Emily seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. That brings us to our final round of public comment. Is there anyone wishing to offer any remarks?
Hi there, Rich Mance, 2000 Princeton. It's been a while since I've been up here. So I just want to make a comment. Couple weeks, 3 weeks ago, I had some surgery that's given me a lot of off time. And part of my therapy has been doing walking. I probably put 50 to 70 miles in Camp Hill in the past 3 weeks. You've probably seen me somewhere. And I know this is being worked on. And Colton has enough stuff to do. And I don't want to throw him under the bus, but there is a lot of sidewalks that is in horrible shape. Horrible. Like dangerously bad. So I tell you, streetscape looks beautiful though. And there's in businesses, I've seen businesses that I didn't even know were there. So that looks great, but whew. By the way, since I had a lot of time, I'm going to throw some refrigerator magnets out there that anybody can have. I made them. And I don't want to throw Colton under the bus. I know he's busy, especially since you're, but whew, I thought my sidewalk wasn't in great shape, but it's great compared to what I've seen. Thanks.
Thank you, Rich. I would just note that, we do try to attend to our sidewalks along with our curb and paving projects. But also, when you see a bad sidewalk, file a complaint because it is complaint-based. So that's for everyone.
17th Street.
Okay. And that complaint form is available on our website. And so Colton can be made aware of that, and that can be remedied. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Are there any closing remarks by council?
I would just note that we have 3 of our new council members here tonight, and we'd like to welcome them, and hopefully they're getting ready to work. January 5th? Is that the swearing in? Okay. Okay, very good.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else?
Can I just say about sidewalks, we actually had 117 letters go out last week to properties that may or may not have to make improvements to their sidewalks, but they're located within the paving area, so they will have to do sidewalk and curb and tree work. We call that the heads up letter so that it sounds a little nicer. There's a lot of information in it for all of those individuals. So Lester and Colton are out spraying things on people's sidewalks and curbs now. We don't know how many they will get marked, but 117 letters went out, so it's possible there could be 117 properties. That would be a lot. The second thing that the individuals will receive will say notice of violation across the top. So we do like to give a heads up so that people know, this is the nice version. The next version you're going to get is an official notice. So we don't want to alarm people.
Yeah, I would also just note one additional thing. 17th Street is a state road, which makes it a little bit more difficult to easily require those sidewalks because they would require an HOP, a highway occupancy permit. So it would probably be easier for residents to complete all that sidewalk work at one time to get an HOP for all of those properties rather than doing them by property. Colton, did you?
I was just going to say for sidewalk complaints, we do want specific address, not general. Okay. Yeah.
So,
it helps that process go less.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do the block walks too, but then
just to ensure that's caught on our YouTube video, please submit specific addresses with your complaint regarding sidewalks. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. this evening. There being no further business, the meeting stands adjourned.